On September 16, 2008, the captain of one of the islands in New York City saw something floating in his water somewhere. It was very close to a rock or on land. He was not able to know the nature of this thing. Was it a human being or just garbage thrown into the sea? To confirm this thing, he boarded a small boat. He went towards this thing until he discovered that it was a girl and her head was in the water. He quickly pulled her out of the sea, and fortunately the girl was trying to breathe, meaning she was still alive. The girl was wearing sports clothes and most of her body was red because it had been burned from the sun. This is the beginning of Hannah's story. A father who disappeared 3 times in an amazing and strange way. So follow me until the end until you know her complete story. The important thing is that after this person pulled her from the sea and she started breathing, he called the emergency services and an ambulance arrived and took her to the hospital so they could do the necessary tests. Fortunately, Hannah was healthy and had no physical problem, and she even woke up and started telling the employees that a few hours ago she left her house to run and do sports. She started asking what happened to me and how I had arrived at the hospital. After they did the necessary tests on her and treated her for the sunburn on her body, they talked to her and found out that her name was Hannah Up, and they contacted her family, and her family recognized her and said that she was really our daughter, but she had been missing for 3 weeks, not hours, as she said. When they told Hannah that you had been missing for 3 weeks and your family was looking for you, she couldn't believe it. She used to say the last thing she remembered was that she had left the house to run and do exercise, and suddenly she saw herself in the hospital. At first people did not give much importance to the matter, and since it was the sea, she was most likely drowned. For a long time, her entire body was burned, and it was clear that she had suffered a lot during this period. They excused her and said, "Let us give her a few days to rest, and she will certainly remember." But unfortunately, she did not remember, and she was adamant in her words that a few hours ago, she had gone out to do exercise, and suddenly she found herself in the hospital. When the investigators began investigating her case, they discovered that Hannah was living in a student residence and that she had a dead roommate or roommate, and this roommate confirmed to the police that indeed, 3 weeks ago, Hannah had gone out to exercise and had left all of her personal belongings, such as her passport, personal ID, money, keys, everything. She had left him in the room because she was going to walk for a while and come back, and since that day she has not returned. Her roommate has reported to the police that she disappeared, and the police searched for her everywhere, but there was no trace of her, to the point that they lost hope and began to say that she most likely became a victim of some kind of murder and disappeared. But something very strange happened to them during the search process, that is, at the time when Hannah was hiding, in one of the Apple stores in the area. And through the surveillance cameras, they saw Hannah present inside the store, using one of the devices displayed, and she even logged in with her personal email on this. The device has no record of any message sent or received from the device. The strangest thing is that at that moment, one of her friends was inside the store and saw her and confronted her verbally. "Are you really Hannah? The world is upside down for you and you are here." But Hannah's answer was, "No, I am not Hannah." "Who is Hannah?" And she turned away and left the store. Of course, her friend who recognized her immediately. The police reported that he saw her in this place, but when the police came, Hannah was missing again, and in order to make sure that the person who was in the store was really Hannah, they took the video that the camera recorded and showed it to Hannah's mother, and she confirmed with 100% that it was her daughter, Hannah, but no one knew why. Hannah was denying that she was Hannah. The incident was repeated several times in more than one place, once in Starbucks, once in gyms or sports clubs, and people would report to the police when they saw Hannah, but as usual, when the police came, Hannah had disappeared, and the thing that drove the police and all the people crazy was that Hannah had left all her belongings at home. How could she enter the club without a club card? How could she buy from Starbucks without money, because Hannah literally did not have anything with her? She was only wearing sports shorts, not just shorts, she was also wearing tops, but she did not have anything on her. And they continued, "Where does Hannah sleep? Where does she eat? What does she drink? How does she live without anything? No one will ever know." At this moment, the police started coming up with scenarios about how Hannah got out of the store, walked to a place near the sea, then went out to swim, then arrived on the island and the boat sank, but they were all hypotheses. No one knows what happened to Hannah and how she arrived on the island. Even Hannah herself doesn't know that it is worth noting that when she was in the hospital and she was rejecting the story they told her and saying that I went out for a walk and then found myself in the hospital, they examined her brain and nerves so that they would know if there were problems in her brain that would make her forget, and it was revealed to them that the physical condition of her body was completely healthy and there was nothing wrong with it, so they decided that it was the issue is psychological, meaning that she has a psychological problem that made her forget what happened. The important thing is that time passed and Hannah returned to her family, thank God, and completed her studies. After 5 years, she became a teacher, and one day while she was going to work, she disappeared again. Her colleagues at work saw her before she disappeared and said that she was going towards the school where she was studying, but she did not enter the school and they did not know where she had gone. The police found out how the mobile phone network determined the location of her mobile phone. It turned out that it was actually parked in a place close to the school, but Hannah was not there. They searched a lot around the area where the mobile phone was located, but what she said had no effect. 2 days later, Hannah's mother receives a call from a strange number, and when she answers it, she finds out that Hannah is the caller and says, "I don't know where I am, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm fine, and I'm in such and such a park, and this is the cell phone of someone I saw in the park and asked that I use it to call you. Until now, no one has an explanation for the matter. Not even Hannah is able to explain what is happening to her, and since the more she thinks about the matter, she becomes better with guilt, or she has psychological problems. Where have I been? These are the days, 20 days or 25 days are erased from my memory, and all the people are gone. She tells my story, which I don't know myself, and because of the circumstances, Hannah decided to move to a new place where there are no people who know her story, so that she can rest her head from the stories of her disappearance, and she actually moved to a new area and started studying in a new school, and life was good, and the school officials and students all loved her and everyone was talking good for her. Time passed and we reached the month of September 2017. The news started broadcasting that a strong hurricane would hit the island where Hannah lives. All of her friends and all the people on the island were preparing to leave the island before the storm came. Except for Hannah, she was refusing to leave the island, and on September 15th, a few days after the storm, some officials at the school asked to hold a meeting, and Hannah was supposed to attend the meeting, but she did not attend it, and they discovered that she had disappeared for the 3rd time. They called her and went to her house, but they did not find her. There was one of her friends who knew that her favorite place in the area was the beach, so she and the police went to the place until they searched for it, and they actually saw her car, parked next to the beach, and in it were her things and the money placed on the car seat. But there is no trace of Hannah from that time until now. Hannah has disappeared. Can you ask yourself, is it possible that they cannot find an explanation for what is happening to her? Praise be to God, they found an explanation and discovered that Hannah is suffering from something called dissociative fugue, which is a condition that afflicts a person and makes him forget all his personal information and memories, but does not make him forget his nature. I mean, for example, the person who has this condition keeps remembering that he must drink water and eat in order to continue living and know where he is coming from. He brings food and knows all the things. But everything is information and personal memories that he does not know, and this situation does not always last for possible hours or days, as happened with her when she disappeared. The first time I stayed with her for 3 weeks, the second time for 2 days, and the third time. Unfortunately, we do not know if yet Hannah is in a state of dissociative fugue and that she exists in something somewhere, or it went away with the storm and it was over. And here we have reached the end of the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe.